Working Fans Podcast. Cool.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Coming down 3, 2.
Welcome back for another week of the Working Fans Podcast. This is AJ. I'm the former wrestler. We've got Dave, the ultimate fan, here with us. As we do every week, our producer Joe likes to make us sound good and makes us look way more professional than we actually are. As always, you can find us on Twitter, that's @FansWorking, Facebook, Working Fans Pod. We've got email where you can reach out to us and please contact us to let us know what you think of the podcast and for any ideas that you might have. That's workingfanswrestlingpod@gmail.com. We're on Instagram where you can keep up with us at workingfanswrestling_pod. And then you can now listen to us on all major platforms, including Anchor.fm. We're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Apple Podcasts, and you can actually check us out on YouTube. Now, it's important when you go onto the Apple Podcasts and YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a rating, let us know what you think so you can help us out and we can continue to do what we love and bring you guys in as fans.
Welcome to the 5-3-1, where we take our top 5 list on a particular subject, debate it down to a top 3 list, further debate it down to a top 1. This week, we got our favorite Intercontinental Champions. AJ sent in a list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's that motherfucker got? Coronavirus or some goddamn shit? Where the hell?
I know, he's quarantined himself for like a month and a half, too.
Oh, my God. You know, he calls in, he no-shows. I mean, I know he likes it when I talk shit about him when he's not here because I talk to him and he says he appreciates that. So, you know, I don't know what he did. I think he said something about like Chris Benoit for life and then he went into hiding. It's none of our business. AJ, that's how you feel. Love you. Let's talk about his list.
Talking about his list, number 1 is Mr. Perfect.
Yep.
Number 2, you called it, is Chris Benoit. Number 3 is Greg Valentine. Number 4 is Randy Savage. And I'll be goddamned if Jason from Walmart doesn't pop for this. Pedro Morales is number 5.
Pedro Morales. And you know what? I got to tell you, I had to talk to him about this list because he originally sent me another list, a couple other names on it. He had Goldust on it. And I said, Goldust, that's cool, he's good. And he said, I don't know why, he said it was so weird. He said, yeah, but the real pervy version of Goldust, he would touch himself a lot. That's the one I want on there. And I said, are you sure? The way you worded that's kind of weird. And he said, yeah. And then he changed his mind, and then he tried to tell me about Adrian Adonis. And I said, oh, Adrian Adonis with the leather jacket, the biker. He said, no, with the flowers and the pink tights. I was like, dude, he wasn't IC champ. So he goes, okay, otherwise I definitely want to put him on. He's feeling a little weird this week. I don't know what's going on. But anyway.
Scott from Voluntown had Mr. Perfect, Bret Hart, Randy Savage, Chris Jericho, Razor Ramon.
It's a good list.
I'm going to give you my list because for some reason I positioned myself third. I have Mr. Perfect, Randy Savage. I went a little different with this one. I'm talking IWGP Intercontinental Champion because nobody fucking specified Shinsuke Nakamura. And I'm going to put that one over huge because at a time where Okada and Tanahashi are battling for the main belt, Nakamura made the IWGP Intercontinental Championship something. Fuck, I should have put Naito on this list. I'm a little mad I didn't do it.
While you're at it, maybe you should read Zach's list because Zach told me that if the IWGP Intercontinental title was included, he wanted to make a change.
Ah, shit. Well, we'll get to that. I got to finish off my list.
Okay, so yeah, keep going. We'll get to that.
Number 4 is Ricky Steamboat. Number 5 is Chris Jericho.
Glad you put Ricky in there. One of the all-time great workers. Didn't have the longest Intercontinental title reign, but he's involved in widely considered one of the best matches of all time on the biggest card of all time, Randy Savage, WrestleMania 3, for the Intercontinental title. And he lost to a guy who probably had the Intercontinental title the longest. And some would say he's the greatest, but I haven't heard his name yet mentioned. He's not on my list either. That's the Honky Tonk Man. Just saying. Anyway.
Speaking of Randy from Griswold, Randy Osgood, you know who the fuck he is.
Oh, yeah, former guest.
Had 1 Chris Jericho, 2 Shawn Michaels, 3 Randy Savage, 4 Mr. Perfect, and Jason from Walmart, you better sit the fuck down because he had Pedro Morales as number 5.
Oh, man. You know what I was about Pedro Morales? He always had these like orange tights that looked like they had big sweat stains on them for some reason. But I dug that as a kid. Anyway, go ahead.
Jesse from New Hampshire had Chris Jericho, Ricky Steamboat, Finally, the Honky Tonk Man pops up.
Hey.
The Rock and Razor Ramon.
It's a fucking fantastic list. I like to have you read it.
All right, so we got to Zach's list.
Go ahead, read his list as it is.
Okay.
I'll tell you what it.
He had Randy Savage.
Yep.
Shawn Michaels.
Mm-hmm.
Bret Hart.
Sure.
Randy Savage again. Fuck. This list has got to be fucked.
Joe's fucking tired, folks. It's okay. I got this list from Zach.
Thank God you said it's tired and not a wellness policy violation like you've been in the past.
Joe had, I'm sorry, Zach had Randy Savage, Shawn Michaels, Mr. Perfect, Bret Hart, Chris Jericho. I don't know which one.
Okay, Mr.
Zach. My boy fucked up.
Okay, hold on. Mr. Perfect, Bret Hart, Chris Jericho. I had Razor Ramon.
Where's Razor?
Mr. Perfect, Chris Jericho. Okay. But if the IWGP title is
If the IWGP title's in, you know who's getting out? Bret Hart. Sorry, buddy, we love you, Bret, but Nakamura's in, baby. 2 for Nakamura.
Bret screwed Bret.
Joe tried to screw everybody on that one. Joe screwed Zach.
I screwed the pooch on this one.
Yeah,
but
baby.
Speaking of the St. John's, Jake showed up this week, author of that Lost City Highway.
We're going to put a fucking link up that on
Yeah,
Twitter,
we're going to put a link up because I just fucking said the name of the book. Don't 100% remember it. I fucking own it. You should own it too. But his list is Mr. Perfect, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Randy Savage, Razor Ramon.
You're goddamn right it is. I double checked your work this time, baby.
Sheaf had Razor Ramon, Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, Mr. Perfect, Randy Savage.
Nice. What about our guest this week?
Our guest this week, Zicky Dice, is going to tell you in his own words his list. And here it is.
Who would Zicky Dice's top 5 IC champs be?
Oh, man. Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels. God, dude. Mr. Perfect, of course.
Mr. Perfect, yep.
Oh, man, dude.
Yeah, it's funny.
Warrior. Oh, man.
Yep.
And Rude, right?
Yeah, Rude. Rude was IC champ. Yep, that's perfect. Yeah. You nailed it.
These lists can be hard to come up with because there's so many.
There is, and I mean, that list can change at any day and any time, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
There's no specific order, of course.
100%.
I just, I picture, I always loved, too, when the Warrior had, that seafoam green strap on the eagle belt, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, beautiful. Beautiful.
All right, Dave, who do you have for a list?
All right, my list. I haven't heard this guy mentioned once, but I think he's one of the great Intercontinental Champions. Tito Santana. All right, he's a 2-time champ.
That's going to pop Jason from all
right. Maybe he won it from Don Morocco after Morocco had beat Pedro Morales. That son of a bitch. And then Tito lost it to Greg Valentine, but he won it back in a steel cage before losing it to Randy Savage at the Boston Garden. Bret Hart for being one of the great tag wrestlers and being one of the great Intercontinental Champions, right before he ended up being one of the great world champions. I think Bret Hart and the IC belt are pretty synonymous. And also, he had an excellent match with Davey Boy Smith at Wembley Stadium. You might remember that. Bret, I'm fucked. I'm fucked, Mr. Hitman. Very good stuff. Davey fucked up on crack the night before, but still put on the performance of a lifetime. And that's something we appreciate at the Working Fans Podcast. Edge is one of my favorite Intercontinental Champions of all time, and one of the best. And Edge is doing some great work. He's probably the highlight on Monday Night Raw these days, along with Randy Orton. Chris Jericho. This guy, I believe, still has the most Intercontinental title reigns of anybody, including one in New Japan Wrestling. Jericho is the current AEW Heavyweight Champion. He just lost it, but he was the first ever AEW Heavyweight Champion, and until recently, he was the youngest AEW Heavyweight Champion. Unfortunately, he's not. And you need to fucking hear that. Right? And last on my list, man, I want to get honorable mention to Mr. Perfect. I felt like I should have put him on my list, but I didn't. I went with Randy Macho Man Savage instead. I thought he had a spectacular reign.
Hey, there's so many choices out there that it's just who makes the list at any given time.
You know, and I might, if it gets down to Savage and Perfect, I might pull a heel turn and fuck over Savage. So let's see what we got here.
There's so many names that appeared on multiple lists that we made a top 5 list from this list, and we're going to work our way down. So in this little tournament style bracket, we got first Michaels versus Savage.
Michaels versus Savage.
I got to give it to Savage just based on the Savage Steamboat match.
Yeah.
I think he's more synonymous, I would say, with the IC title than Michaels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that. Sean's more about putting on fantastic matches, Mr. WrestleMania and the world title in DX.
Yeah.
Not fucking bad run. But yeah, I think Savage is the guy who really brought prestige to the Intercontinental belt.
Now we got Jericho versus Bret Hart.
I love me some Bret Hart. Bret Hart's my favorite wrestler of all time. I'm going to say Jericho, though.
Bret felt like more of a world title guy
World
to me.
champion, yeah, the Hart Foundation. So I'm going to say Jericho is going to go over in that one.
And for the last one, we got Razor versus Perfect.
Razor. I want to talk about Razor for a second. Jake told me that Razor is one of the hardest working dildos of all time. He did say his girlfriend might have texted that. I don't know the whole story, but he says he knew that list was right because Razor wasn't one of his favorites, but he still put him on that list. That being said, Mr. Perfect, fuck you, Razor. I'm going Mr. Perfect.
Wow. I almost would have given it to Razor for that ladder match, but, Perfect, more legendary. I would say more of an overall favorite.
JBL just shared a story. I forget who Perfect was wrestling, but he was the heel, and somebody was yelling at the babyface, "You suck." And he was going, "Mr. Perfect, woo!" And Perfect saw him to be the ultimate heel, took his gum and threw it at the guy and landed on his face. And the guy said, "Perfect, you suck." And I guess Kurt turned around and looked and he goes, "That's perfect."
Nice. So now for our top 3 list, we got Savage, Jericho, and Mr. Perfect.
Ooh, who's going out
Who's the first to go? Yeah.
All right.
I think it's going to be a victim of being up against 2 legends.
They're all legends.
They are.
I mean, at the end of the day, fuck it, man. Jericho would be the one I would think maybe I'm going to kick out. But to me, this motherfucker is building a Mount Rushmore career.
Yeah.
And that Intercontinental Championship. Like I said, this guy also held it in Japan, too.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I said I'd probably turn on Savage. But sorry, Perfect. You're going to have to go first.
Now, has Nakamura held the WWE Intercontinental Championship yet?
Yeah.
So he's done the...
He's done both, too.
Yeah.
He didn't make our list. Well, he did twice.
He made Zach and mines, but
not enough people.
rest of y'all are racist. That's why we're big in Japan. Savage versus Jericho, the
AJ
final
said something about
showdown.
like a Nakamura when he touched himself. I don't know what that was about, but he didn't make the list. Anyway, I'm gonna go with Jericho, man. That's my pick. You want to disagree? Come on, fucking bring it. You don't want to disagree. You want to wrap it up?
I don't know. Savage is a legend.
He got
but
it. He is.
Jericho's done it for so long, and I feel like there's more longevity to it.
Jericho said that he wanted to do a feud with whoever the Intercontinental Champion was at the WWE at the time when he had the IWGP Intercontinental title.
Okay.
So, I mean, that guy's done more for the Intercontinental title than anyone I can think of.
I know. Savage had that big WrestleMania match over
He
it.
did, but he lost it.
Yeah,
like a bitch.
that's true. God damn. And I mean, if you talk shit on Jericho, he can find you and come back at you.
Yeah, Savage ain't doing that. No offense, Randy.
All right, so Jericho's gonna get it this week.
You bet your ass he's gonna get it.
And
AJ said he was gonna get it too. I don't know what he meant by that.
And if you guys agree with us, disagree with us, get a hold of us on Twitter, get a hold of us on Facebook. You know where to find us.
Yeah, get at us.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Guys, thank you for listening to the 531 here on YouTube this week. If you like what you hear, you can always find us on Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and on the Apple Podcast where you can subscribe and also give us a 5-star rating. We appreciate you listening. We want your feedback, 531, and if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, we also want you to let us know. And let us know what your 531 would be. Come up with a top 5 and let us know, and we'll tell you why you're wrong. And in order for us to do that, please contact us on Twitter. We're at Fans Working. Facebook page, Working Fans Wrestling Pod. Email workingfanswrestlingpod@gmail.com. It's very important that you actually contact us on these platforms because we want this to be your interactive place to talk wrestling.